please come to the mic.
Hello. Good. I was glad to hear that the attorney is going to review this survey. Will that cover the legality of the survey in light of the two state laws on this subject?
Yes, and Matt is not the actual one that's looking at it. It
Okay.
is his associate Francis, who is here sometimes.
Thank you. I'm delighted to hear that. Okay, I'd like to move a motion then. In light of declining ranking of Berkeley Heights schools, I move that at the next board meeting, Dr. Varley personally give us a presentation laying out possible explanations for the decline, and by August, give the board specific actions to be taken to address the problem.
Do we have a second?
Second. Can you restate that?
I was going to say, I'm a little unsure about what you're asking.
Restate that.
Should I read again slower? In light of declining ranking of Berkeley Heights schools, I move that at the next board meeting, Dr. Varley personally give us a presentation laying out possible explanations for the decline, and by August, give the board specific actions to be taken to address the problem.
Okay, we had a second, right?
Yep.
Okay, so now we need to take a roll call.
A discussion.
Oh, discussion, sure.
So what ranking are you talking about? Because depending if it's US News and World Report or whatever ranking it is, there's different criteria for that. And sometimes I think the school districts participate in some of the criteria, not in all the criteria. So which specific ranking are you referring to?
I don't have specific ones. You can pick what you like.
I think it would be beneficial if you had something specific, and then we could find out, you know, what the criteria was for that ranking.
And I agree, if you're asking Dr. Varley to come up with information, she needs to have the right criteria.
Well, I wouldn't focus so much on, the source of the ranking. I mean, there's probably, if you need, I can give you specific things later, but what explains why we're going down? That's what I'm after.
And could you be more
And-
specific as to going down in sports or in
Not sports,
academics or
academics.
in diversity? You know, there are a
No,
lot of
I'm
different
interested in
areas.
the academic decline of the district.
In particular, which academics?
Well, you have certainly your state tests. We have problems with not so many students being proficient or advanced proficient. I think we're around half proficient or advanced proficient in math. And I think we're around that in English. You can go back to the December presentation on state test scores. I just like to know what's going on.
So the state testing is taking place now, right now.
No,
So
there
you're
was-
asking
there
for
were
a
tests-
update on that?
There were testing. Yes, well, there was testing last June. We got a report in December. There will be more testing coming. But I don't think you should reject my motion here. This is serious business. The community doesn't like what's happening. I think you know that.
I agree,
Okay.
but I
I
think
don't
we
like
need
it. I don't
something
think you like it.
I need
let's get
something
some
specific
information
to be
on-
able to vote on it.
No, you don't. Well, maybe you do, but some of us don't. I'd like to know why we're declining. That's all.
Dr. Varley, aren't you
Okay.
doing a presentation when you get the test results at some point?
Yes, we do. I think we do actually 2 presentations a year on our scores. And I know our own student representatives have sat here and said that there's some of the tests that they don't take seriously because they've already excelled on the SAT and they passed every graduation pathway. So when it comes to it, they Christmas tree it. But our own student representatives, one of them who is going to MIT, has made that statement. So I think if you have to define what you're looking at. And by the way, 2 years in a pandemic, you have to you have to define what you're looking at. Like, what makes you think we're declining?
When is that presentation? When does that happen?
We had one in the fall. I can't remember if it was, I think it was October, and then I think we had one in December.
So we've got another one coming up in December?
Well, I think.
We have to wait till the scores come back. We will do, once we get the AP scores and all those things, and that's something we excel in. Our AP scores are off the charts. So, I mean, I think if SAT, ACT, all those things are increasing, but we also have to keep in mind that our youngest learners spent 2 years at home and not in school full time. Like, there's something to be said for not being in the classroom in front of your teacher.
So I think I know what, Tom, you're talking about something that I think came from the DOE. I'll find the link and send it to you. It was more about the GL ranking, not so much the elementary school rankings. And everybody went through the same pandemic. But when we see our high school ranking go down worse compared to our neighboring districts, that's the concern that he's raising. So I get what you're saying. And I think I have the link. I'll share that. It did come from the DOE and it did show that GL went down. And we are trying to figure out why. What do we need to do better as we think about, how we are taking our district resources and putting them to the maximum use for our students.
So you're asking, what did the DOD use for criteria for that ranking?
No, I'm not asking that. I looked at the survey. I don't know the one, does the school actually provide any kind of information to the DOE when they publish such a thing?
So it's our school performance reports that get uploaded to the state. We just give them a narrative as far as like, we're a district of 2,500 students, blah, blah. They upload all that information, but GL's rankings are solely based on the GPA, the 11th grade test, as well as the Algebra I test, which our students take in 8th grade. So it does not count toward the GL scores. And that seems to always get lost in translation. If we moved Algebra I to 9th grade, our GL scores would increase in math. But because they're 8th grade scores, they get counted at the middle school.
So I want to know, if we knew we were bringing this here tonight, why did we not come and provide information to board members prior to the meeting? Yeah, which Dr. Foregger is on the curriculum committee, which we definitely had a great long meeting last time. And you could always come to the chair of the curriculum and ask them to look into this. I do think that we should change the name of curriculum to curriculum and student achievement, which is what I brought up last year in December. So I know that's still on my back burner, but I would have loved some more information because I can't really make a vote today on anything because I don't have any information on this.
Tom, did you reach out to the administration with any of these questions prior to this?
No, I have not.
Okay, so it would be helpful that if you are planning to have this discussion so that the administration can get their numbers, so that we can have a better discussion
No,
to bring that to committee.
The intent of the motion is to get a report from the superintendent. What's the explanation? And for the decline, I said in light of the declining ranking of the Berkeley Heights schools, I think I'd like to get an explanation of what's going on. If she doesn't want to do it, then I can't force her to do it, but maybe the board could agree with me and we can get a report and we can get some idea by August. Excuse me, but I have the floor, and if you have a question, you should direct it to the chair. Thank you.
Okay, did we have we had a motion, did we have a motion to table it,
Are we
right?
still-
We did have a second.
Right.
So let's
but
do a
are
roll. Hold on.
So we're still having a discussion. So really, it's really, over the request is to me, it's just a update based on the most current data. Right, but, right. So we need to define what it is. and then make sure that we have the most up-to-date data so that we could even make a comparison. I mean, I understand wanting an update. It's just a matter of making sure we have clear criteria of what we're looking for, and we have the right data to be able to present. She has the right, or the administration, I can't even talk. Administration team has the right data pulled together to be able to show an accurate comparison, but
If you want to base it on the ranking that came from the Department of Ed, that's fine with me.
All right, so we had a motion to table, we had a second. Can we have a roll call, please?
Can I say something?
it was not table.
There was no table.
It's not a table.
Let's. Okay.
Wait,
move.
excuse me. Still have discussion. I'm over here. The thing that sticks with me most is what Gail said. We need criteria. You can say, well, I don't know which survey, this survey or that survey. That's not what it's about, is the name of the survey. You have to peel back the layers empirically. What's the criteria that's included in each of these surveys? And it sounds, based on what Dept said, you sort of did have a source, if she's correct, or at least she did. And none of us have it, or we're given it before the meeting. And if you want this to be a productive time to spend, and if you really want answers, come with information so you can get information. There's nothing to vote on. I mean, we can vote, but it's basically, what did we decide? Abstain if you don't have enough information. This is abstain.
Go on.
I am not opposed to finding out where our student achievement is. I think that's very important to have that information. Since our students are testing right now, we will have that information soon. This one survey that came out, again, the criteria, we don't know what it is. And I don't think it would be productive for administration to devote time to looking into that at this point, because I'm assuming that our administration, Dr. Varley, will give us an update on our scores that are being done right now within, well, the scores will come in probably in June or May, maybe. So beginning of the year, we will get an update as to where we are. And I think that, you know, depending on the ranking, things fluctuate all the time. And we have to take a look at that. I don't feel I have enough to be able to vote.
As I recall, it was a 25-point drop in the rating of the high school.
As opposed to what was the criteria?
You can look at the report, but it's basically a 25-point drop. I think that's serious. And I think people in the community would like to know. I'd like to know what explains it. What's going on here? We had, if you go back in time, we used to have at least 7 national merit semifinalists each year. Okay. I don't think we've had any for the last.
We had
few years.
12 this year, just so you know. We had 12.
Semifinalists
Yes.
or commended.
We had 12.
Well, that's very good. That's very good.
Can we have a roll call on?
Can I make a suggestion? I know the rankings that we are talking about, I've seen them. Let's send those over to Dr. Varley so that we know what everybody's talking about. And the ask here is really for us to understand what's going on. How should we be interpreting this data, right? The human reaction here is the state ranking, GL going down, what's going on? And as a board, it's our responsibility to ask the question that everybody in the community is asking, what's going on? What's the explanation? And to your point, if this is about interpreting the algebra test going this way or that way, let's hear it out, right? So that it doesn't have to be like, should we do it? Should we not do it? Let's get the data. Let's understand why this is showing up. And there might be very well a good reason. We just need to understand it.
We have 18 national merit scholars coming up this next year.
And my understanding is that we're going to do a presentation coming up on all the scores and the data. So that's coming up in,
We got to get the data first.
okay. Right, so can we have a roll call on Dr. Foregger's motion?
Yeah, sorry.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Bradford,
Abstain.
Mr. Chantrulli,
Abstain.
Dr. Foregger,
Yes.
Mrs. Khanna,
Yes.
Mrs. Stanley,
No.
Mrs. Young,
Abstain. So,
Mrs. Penna.
No,
In this instance, is the abstention a no?
well, I just want more
Wait.
info on it, I want that criteria.
2 yes, 3 abstentions and 2 no's. Your motion does not pass.
However, I think we can we share all this info? I would like, can we like, I would like to see all the information, determine what the what we ask, what we're asking specifically, so that we all know what we're looking at as and collectively. And then, yeah, and then say, can you infuse, when doing the presentation, can you infuse this and infuse this and have those
Right.
discussions?
And like my position here is this, right? I understand the intent, I understand the motivation, and that speaks to me. We really need to understand why is the number showing what it is, right?
Yes.
Maybe how we go about it, again, going back to Steve's point, is I think let's focus on what do we as a board want to do, right? Motion, table the motion, yes, no, abstain, whatever. At the end of the day, if we truly are interested in understanding where is our student achievement going, how is it being tracked, and
Yeah.
it's important, right? State rankings, what is it, showing, where does Berkeley Heights fit? We need to understand that. I don't think we disagree. Let's get to the bottom of it. That's kind of my personal motivation here, to be
Yeah.
honest.
so my
agree.
recommendation